Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a Chris story time. For today's story time, I am going to be talking about the day that I got evicted. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. You're thinking like, you got evicted? Like, what did you do? Like, how did that happen, right? It's really a crazy story. So I'm gonna start with like a little backstory to why the eviction happened, okay? So basically, one day I was at the mall with a friend of mine, and we were just chilling, shopping, and I received a text message from one of my roommates. So at this time, I was living with two other people, and one of my roommates texted me. My other roommate was out of town. So my roommate texts me and he goes, I lost my wallet at work. I had it out on the counter and I think someone stole it. Okay. And I was like, oh my God, like I'm sorry that happened to you. Like, remind you, it was like the 29th. So it was like the 29th, 30th, 31st, 1st, right? So on the 1st, our rent was due. And I was like, well, like, hopefully you find it, because like you have like 2 more days and you got to pay your rent, And he's like, he gets mad and he goes, oh, well, thanks for being so considerate. Like, thanks for being a friend. Like, so he tries to like flip it on me, right? And so I text back and I'm like, look, like, I'm not trying to be mean, but what I am trying to do is I'm trying to pay this rent. So you need to find your wallet, or you need to find some money from somewhere. So I then get home later that night and he's not there, right? But his backpack was on the couch, right? Now look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm the type of person that if you tell me something and I don't believe you, I'm gonna find out, like I'm gonna figure it out. You're gonna slip up, you're gonna say something, because I'm gonna remember everything you said and everything you did. Okay? So his backpack is on the couch. And I had previously asked him, I said, well, did you check your backpack? Like, I know you leave it in like your little pouch area. And he was like, yeah, I checked it already, it's not in there. So I checked his backpack. I'm not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I did it. And I would do it again in a heartbeat. So I opened up his little part, and lo and behold, there's his wallet, right? Okay. So I'm thinking to myself, did you really look? Like maybe you just don't have the money, but like, why wouldn't you just say that, So I opened up his wallet because he had said that he didn't have his debit card and he had to order a new one and blah, 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 blah. So I saw his card was in there and I was like, so you didn't lose your wallet, you didn't lose your card, like it's in here, like how are you ordering a new one? Okay. My other roommate then gets home and I'm like, his wallet is in his backpack. And she's like, oh my God, like you look, blah, 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 And so then I'm like, I'm pissed. I'm like hot, you feel me? Because I'm like, I can't believe you're going to sit here and lie to me and like act like you don't have something that clearly you have because you don't want to pay something or whatever his reasoning was. Alright, so then later on that night, he comes home, right? And I'm like, we need to talk. I was real confrontational back then, like, smack you in the mouth, you start acting crazy. Anyway, so I asked him, I said, hey, so you lost your wallet? I'm asking him all the questions, and he's like, yeah, like, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, oh, I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And he continuously is just lying to me. Like, you're lying to me in my face. And I'm just kind of like... So I finally was like, really? So somehow we got into an argument, right? And I was like, your wallet is in your backpack. And he's like, what? Like, you know how people get. He walks in the room, opens his backpack, and the wallet's in there. He goes, so you went through my stuff? And I was like, yeah, I did. And I was like, why can't you pay your rent? And of course he flipped around on me and was like, I can't believe you went through my stuff. Like, that's an invasion of privacy and blah, 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 blah. Remind you, I'm the only one on the lease at this point. Me. So this is my house. You feel me? My name's the only one on the lease. So then a few days later, of course, he still has not paid his rent. The first has passed. He just ain't paid his rent. And so he is like, I'm going to leave. Like, I'm going to move out. And I'm like, okay. Like, what do you want me to say? You know, I don't really care. And he just moves all his stuff, moves to a different city, right? Done. So after he left, I decided I no longer wanted to be a part of the house. I was over it. I didn't want to really live with my other roommate as well. Like it just was a bad situation. It was a really ugly situation. And so I left. I moved in with I moved in with a coworker actually of mine, and we later on became friends and whatever. So I moved in with him and his roommates. And this is, at the time, I'm living with like all guys. I was living with like 4 other guys, I think. And my cat, Bosco. And so I left the house and I told my other roommate who was on the lease, the girl, I was like, hey, like, you're going to have to go up to the office and get your name on the lease so I could take my name off the lease, right? She's like, okay, like, yeah, no problem, da-da-da. I'm like, you know, we can do it in a few days, like, get yourself together, figure out if you're going to get more roommates, like, blah, 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 blah. She's like, oh, okay, cool. Like, so I leave her the house. Totally my mistake. I understand. I was like young. It was one of the first places I ever was on a lease for, you know, so it was like, oh, like, this is my friend. I can trust her. Okay. This is what people like to call receipts, right? Because see, some people like to try to act like you were the wrong person in a situation and that you did something bad. And, you know, honey, I got papers. Okay. I'm just going to read off some of this stuff, right? Okay. Y'all ready? It has been reported by the city that I was living in, police department, that on 2/13/15, this was a year ago. February, oh my God. The officer reported to apartment 10 for a call in reference to a domestic violence between 2 friends. Remind you, I got a call from the apartment and they're like, hey, you're getting evicted. And I'm like, who getting evicted? I don't even live. Who, me? I don't live there. Like, how you gonna evict me? I'm already gone, you know? Anyway, so then I go to the house and this is on my door. All right, so it's a call in reference to a domestic violence between 2 friends, right? The officer reported that a female picked a rock up and broke the front window to get into the apartment. One of the officers on the scene then reported there was a marijuana possession, you know, in view on the coffee table inside the apartment. The officer confiscated a bong with marijuana in it and a silver grinder with marijuana in it. My roommate was arrested on site for having drugs in the apartment. So now it says her name, I don't want to say her name, was a guest that you allowed in your apartment, and because she was arrested on property for drug possession and caused damage to the apartment, you are being evicted. You must be out of your apartment no later, blah blah blah, 5 p.m. Turn your keys and parking pass no later than to the leasing office, whatever. Alright. Okay. Also on my door was the police reports, right? Okay. And in the police report, it states, upon arriving, I spoke with one of the females who stated that she was the friend with the owner of the residence. The female, who was verbally identified by an Arizona, blah, 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 blah. She and her friend had just got home from Chili's when her friend forgot her keys to the apartment. my old roommate, picked up a rock and broke the window to get into the apartment. Her friend stated there was no arguing or fighting going on. They were just talking really loudly. Now, this is the part that kills me. Okay. So, the police officer asked my roommate if she had a medical marijuana card. She stated that she did not. She then stated that the bong on the coffee table was her roommate's, and that they did not live there anymore and they were supposed to come back and get it. She stated that her roommates had been gone for approximately 2 weeks and they still had not come to get it. So what kills me, right, in this whole situation is that, were you referring to me that I had left that there? You find out who your real friends are, believe it. You feel me? Like, when you find out someone has turned their back on you in any which way, drop them. There is no point to forgive them because they're just going to keep repeating that cycle. Trust me, with this roommate, she then, of course, was arrested for drug possession and placed in double-locked handcuffs behind her back and It was definitely like a crazy time in my life, and I definitely think that it was good that I made the decision to move and leave. It was an environment that had begun to be very hard for me to live in, and so I definitely had to just move and learn how to be like on my own again, and not deal with certain people anymore, kind of be away from certain people. And so I definitely am a firm believer in getting up and leaving. Just move on, but it takes time to learn how to do that. This was gonna be a very short video. I hope you all enjoyed this video. It was definitely just me opening up and letting you all know a little bit about me. So if you like this video, let me know. I might do some more like story time videos of like past events. But yeah, just remember to live, love, life, and I will see you next time.